Several times a year, my mum and I would seek out the very best English afternoon teas on land, places like Fortnum and Mason's. These would cost up to £75, $100 per person. On my travels, I always seek out renowned afternoon teas, like at the Old Cataract Hotel in Luxor, Egypt, and at the Oyster Box in South Africa, again costing a lot. But actually my happiest time is when I'm at sea, because there are some incredible afternoon tea options costing me nothing, as they're included within the fare. Because I see only a small percentage of travellers going to many of them, and as I think too many are missing out on one of the best culinary experiences on a cruise, I'm going to let you in on my list of the very best of the best, so you too can know where you can indulge in this fantastic experience. First though, it's important to clear up a few things that many people get wrong and misunderstand about afternoon tea. Afternoon tea actually dates back to the 19th century England, when the Duchess of Bedford, one of Queen Victoria's ladies in waiting, used to get hungry late afternoon because the aristocracy at the time would only have two meals, breakfast and dinner at 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And she started to order a light meal of tea, bread and butter to be brought to her at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. She started inviting her fancy friends, including royal courtiers, to join in, and when Queen Victoria became aware of the custom, she actually adopted the ritual, turning it into a fashionable social event with sandwiches, scones, cakes and pastries. Now, despite what many North American hotels especially call the event, it's not high tea. That is just plain wrong. While afternoon tea referred to the fancy sandwiches, scones and cakes the aristocracy enjoyed easing their hunger between meals, high tea was in fact for the more common folk. High tea referred to the evening meal that the working and the sort of lower middle classes had returning home from work in factories, fields or offices. Being British, of course, it included tea, but it was a substantial meal. It was eaten at a high table, I guess what we probably call a dining table now, hence the name high tea. Today you will still hear many Brits call their dinner or supper tea. A proper afternoon tea actually consists of tea, of course, and three key elements. Importantly, this is also the order they should be eaten in. Finger sandwiches, followed by scones with jam and clotted cream, a specific type of cream made with the cream of full-fat cow's milk, and finally cakes and pastries. That's why many afternoon teas are actually served in a tiered stand, which should have those elements in that order from the bottom to the top. There is a much argued about issue whether cream or jam should go first on scones, and more on that later, as I want to reveal now the list of the best 9 afternoon teas at sea that are included in your cruise fares. Cunard is the most famous line to have afternoon tea at sea. It's a big daily event across multiple venues. The most dramatic of these is in their Queen's Room, the ballroom. It starts with a parade of white-gloved waiters carrying the trays of sandwiches, scones and cakes, and live music plays. Passengers travelling in suites can have afternoon tea in the Princess Grill restaurant, one of the suite-only dining rooms, where they're served a traditional tier of sandwiches, scones and cakes. Cunard also serve afternoon tea out on the suite-only deck using a trolley service, and the buffet restaurant offers a self-service afternoon tea option as well. Now, while Cunard are a leading line on afternoon tea with their Queen's Room event, it has several downsides I feel that others actually do better, as you will see shortly. Because they don't do the tiered stands with everything on, it can be a little bit frustrating and a bit random as you rely on waiters passing your table, making it hard to follow the right order, as it were. And also there's no tea choice because they pour tea basically from large teapots. A magnificent afternoon tea at sea is on Viking ocean ships, served in the beautiful Winter Garden Lounge, also with live music. Now they actually do some aspects better than Cunard because they serve leaf tea with around 25 that are counted to choose from. Guests get a tiered stand with the sandwiches and the cakes with different varieties of both each day. And a waiter then comes round with a tray of warm scones, clotted cream and jam. High on my list is Regent Seven Seas, and what I like is they have themed afternoon teas during the cruise, with one of my favourites being the cupcakes one, with a massive range and display of these. They do not serve tiered stands full of the goodies. Instead, Regent waiters bring a trolley around to each table with the sandwiches and the cakes to choose from. They then normally have a big station which has a selection of scones. Now, I really like that they have a wide choice of Twinings teas and they bring a box around to choose from, though unfortunately they are tea bags and not leaf tea. Oceania, their sister line in the Norwegian cruise group, follow a similar approach and have the trolley that also comes around to each table, but with a smaller choice compared to Regent. They also offer the same choice of teas, but again, of course, they're tea bags. Now, while they don't have the themed extras and the larger choice, the quality is very similar, I find, to Regent 7 Seas, and I rate them overall really high. By the way, if you like this Cruise Calories Don't Count t-shirt, you can buy it from my merchandise store in a range of colors. A link is in the description. One of the surprising lines I'd not expected to ever be on my list before cruising with them is afternoon tea on the Italian and value line MSC cruises that's served in their yacht club. The yacht club is their suites ship within a ship area, and the butlers serve afternoon tea in the yacht club lounge. They bring a trolley that comes to your table with a selection of leaf teas to choose from, followed by a tiered stand of sandwiches, scones, and of course cakes. It feels like a really special occasion, in part because it's served by the butlers, and the choice and quality are really good. I had not expected an Italian line with a value offer to get such a British tradition so accurately nailed. Seabourn also has great afternoon teas on both their classic and their expedition ships. On classic cruise ships, it's in the observation lounge, and on expedition ships in the constellation lounge. Now on the classic ships, it's daily, but I found on expedition just on sea days or when cruising in the afternoons. Seabourn afternoon tea follows the British traditions, but the actual sandwiches and cakes are much more adventurous and less classically British. I really like the good range of about 9 leaf teas, and they serve them with a timer to help get the brew time just right. They bring a tiered stand and both whipped and clotted cream, and they have live music playing. Now, while the sandwiches and cakes are a little bit more fancy French patisserie inspired side, I enjoy them and I rate Seabourn afternoon tea highly too. So far, most of the best afternoon teas have been on the luxury and ultra luxury ships or for suite guests only. So are there any great ones on less costly lines? Yes, there are. Holland America has been in service for over 150 years with a Dutch heritage, and with that longevity comes a popular daily afternoon tea event. Held in the main dining room, there's normally a really long line, particularly on sea days, basically waiting for the doors to open for afternoon tea. I've kept Holland America on my list, although I feel in recent years the quality of afternoon tea has slipped a little bit and it lacks some of the drama and the ceremony of some of the others. They pour tea from large teapots like Cunard, not offering a choice, though you can request something different, which they will do, a bit reluctantly, but they will actually do that. They bring round tiered stands which do not have a big choice, but they do have sandwiches, scones and cakes. First of all, as I mentioned, there's not many items on the stands compared to the other lines, but they do the most terrible thing with their scones because they serve them like a sandwich with whipped cream and jam in the middle. This is absolutely not the way that you should be serving or eating scones. It's a travesty. While I feel it could be better overall, they still make it onto my list, and I never miss afternoon tea on Holland America when I'm on board. In addition to Cunard, most of the UK-based lines, not surprisingly, offer afternoon tea with mixed success. P&O Cruises is the largest UK-based line by some margin and offer an included afternoon tea daily in the main dining room, which is really, really popular. Like Holland America, they serve tea from big teapots. They serve a plate of sandwiches and rolls, another with cakes and scones. Certainly when I cruised on them, that was the format. Like Holland America, it lacks the ceremony and sense of occasion others I spoke about earlier provide. It's a good, if low-key, afternoon tea overall. And I do wonder if one reason for this is to encourage people on board to pay for the fancier, more elaborate added cost afternoon tea on some of their ships, like, for example, one by one of their culinary partners, Eric Landlard, on P&O Britannia that I tried. There is a non-British line which competes in the same categories as Holland America and P&O Cruises and has a similar approach to the included afternoon tea on both, and that's Princess Cruises. As with those lines, it takes place in one of the main dining rooms, and I've experienced two very different methods on their ships on recent sailings. Sometimes there's been a modest menu of sandwiches and cakes to choose from, and then they bring your selection on plates. But on other ships, they've actually brought round trays with the sandwiches, cakes and scones around to the table. So there appears to be two different ways of doing it. It's a good, solid afternoon tea, if lacking some of the magic of the others. Earlier I mentioned one of the most argued about things with afternoon tea is how to eat the scones. Putting the jam first and then the cream is known as the Cornish method because people in Cornwall, England, basically eat scones that way, while cream and then jam is how those in Devon eat them. The most popular way to have it is the Cornish way, so jam and then cream, with 62% of British people saying they do that, including the late Queen Elizabeth II. Cornish way is my preferred way of doing it all, so it looks like I'm in good company there. Do you have any favourite included in fare afternoon teas that are not on my list? Let me know in the comments. But while we're talking about cruise ship dining, join me over in this video where I talk about what smart cruisers do and do not do in the buffet and why. See you over there.